Welcome. In this explainer, we are going to unlock one of ServiceNow's most powerful features, reporting. We're going to move way beyond just raw data and show you how to build visual reports and dashboards that don't just spit out numbers, they actually tell a story.
So this is the big question, isn't it? Your ServiceNow instance is an absolute goldmine of data. You've got users, incidents, changes, you name it. But looking at a massive table of information isn't the same as having an insight. The real power comes from turning that sea of data into clear signals that help you make much smarter decisions.
And this slide right here perfectly illustrates the goal. I mean, look at the left. That's raw data. It's functional, sure, but it's overwhelming. Now look at the right, a simple, clean donut chart. Instantly, you know the deal. You can see the proportion of active versus inactive users. That is the whole point of reporting, turning all that complexity into immediate clarity.
Okay, so before we jump into the how-to, let's just take a second to lock in the why. What exactly is a report in ServiceNow, and what's its real purpose? Well, at its core, a report is basically a data translator. It takes all that raw information from your tables and presents it visually, as a pie chart, a bar graph, or even a simple scorecard, something our brains can process almost instantly. It's all about seeing the meaning that's hidden inside the numbers.
All right, it's time to get our hands dirty. We're going to walk through creating your very first report. And you're going to see it's surprisingly easy once you know the basic steps.
The entire process really just boils down to these 5 steps. You define your data source, you choose a visualization type, you configure your filters, you style the output, and then of course, you save your work. Let's start with the first 2, because they really go hand in hand.
So first up, you give your report a name, something really clear, like active users last 90 days. Then you pick your source. Where's the data coming from? In this case, we'll say the user table. And finally, you choose your visualization type. Do you want a donut chart, a bar graph? This is where you decide how your story is going to be told. Next up is configuration. Think of it like a funnel. You start with all your data, but you need to filter it down to what's actually important. This is where you add conditions. So for example, instead of looking at all users ever, you might add a filter for created in the last 90 days. This step really sharpens your focus and makes the report truly useful.
And finally, the finishing touches. In the Style tab, you can do things like adjust colors to match your company's branding, tweak the chart title, and resize elements. Once you're happy with how it looks and what it shows, you just hit Save, and bam! Your report is officially stored in the ServiceNow database.
So, you've built your rapport. Awesome. But your work isn't quite done. Now we need to cover how to manage it, make changes, and create variations without having to start from scratch every single time.
Now, this is super important to understand, the difference between these 2 actions. Update is simple. It just saves your changes to the report you're currently on. But insert and stay? Oh, this one is your new best friend for iterating. It creates a brand new, duplicate copy of your report, letting you experiment with a different version while keeping your original completely safe.
A report is only valuable if the right people actually see it. And that brings us to our next section, how to share, distribute, and even automate the delivery of your insights.
So, you've got 3 main ways to get your report out there. You can share it directly for live, on-demand access right inside ServiceNow. You can schedule it to be emailed automatically for recurring updates, or you can export it as a static PDF for offline sharing.
So when do you use which one? Well, sharing is for now. It gives the user or a group immediate access to the live report. Scheduling, on the other hand, is for routine. It's for that manager who needs the weekly user count delivered to their inbox every single Monday at 9 a.m. like clockwork. Okay, this is a tiny little checkbox in the scheduling options, but trust me, it's a game changer. By checking Omit if no records, you're telling ServiceNow, hey, if this report comes back empty, just don't send it. This little trick prevents stakeholders from getting blank emails and keeps their inboxes clean. They will definitely thank you for it.
And for those times you just need a static snapshot, maybe for a presentation or for someone who isn't in ServiceNow, the export to PDF function is absolutely perfect. You just choose your orientation, generate the file, and you have a clean, shareable document ready to go.
So far, we've been focused on creating individual reports, with each one answering a very specific question. But what happens when you need to see the whole story all at once? Well, that's where dashboards come in.
Let's start with a single building block. Here's our report on active versus inactive users. It gives us one piece of the puzzle. It's useful, but it's just one piece.
But see, this single piece of data naturally leads to other questions, right? Like, how does this user status relate to other things like user engagement or maybe group creation?
So we bring in another report, this one showing how many new groups were created each week. Now we have two distinct but related data points. We're starting to build a bigger picture.
And when you put those reports and maybe a bunch of others together on a single screen, you get a dashboard. It's like a canvas for all your key metrics, giving you that high-level, consolidated view of everything important in one single place.
And dashboards are incredibly flexible. You can create them from scratch, drag and drop your existing reports right onto them as widgets, customize the layout, and then share the entire view with your team. This makes sure everyone is looking at the same big picture based on the same live data.
And really, this is the key takeaway. A report is fantastic for answering a specific question, but a dashboard connects all those answers, providing the context and the narrative for what's really happening across your organization.
So now you have the tools to go from raw, messy data to a complete visual story. You can build, manage, and share both individual reports and those comprehensive dashboards. The only question left is, what amazing story is just waiting to be told within your data?